Hello guys and welcome back to Custom Gamer. My name is Daz and this is the show where we talk about level design while playing cool maps. Today we're having a look at a late entry for the Ravenholmville competition held at Planet Phillip a couple of weeks back. This map is called Crow Avenue. It's by a user called RedMser. At least I think I'm saying that right. Let me know if I've got it wrong. All in all, just a rough breakdown of the map. It feels very unfocused. You have like this main, what feels like should have been a hub area here. You've got this large outside area with lots of corridors and doors leading off it into these kind of dead-end rooms. I just feel like the map lacks a lot of structure in this sense. So you're not really given any kind of goal at the beginning other than have a look around and hopefully find something to do. So it feels very unfocused in that way. And then because you have so many of these dead-end areas with not really anything special to do in them, it ends up feeling very unfocused there as well. So for instance, you have lots of little apartments like this which have a lot of things like supplies and ammo in them, which is great, but you end up feeling like there's just nothing of consequence in any of these areas. I feel like if the map had done a better job of actually setting out a kind of objective at the beginning, then a lot of these side areas wouldn't feel as bad as they do. But right now it just feels like they're there just because, and there doesn't seem to be any real thought put into them. Bit of a shame. Visually, the map is really nothing to write home about, although it's never ugly, but it never really wows you either. There were a couple of nice scenes, like you're seeing here, like the zombie breaking through a window, which was kind of cool. Like breaking all the wood on the way through, which looks great. Would have been nice to perhaps have something up here the player could find afterwards, like some supplies or something. But the main issue I have with the looks of this map is that it's really dark. And obviously a lot of Ravenholm is set at night time, so things are generally dark. But if you actually have a look at the Ravenholm maps in Half-Life 2, most of the playable space that the player is in is not dark at all. It's generally the surroundings around the playable area which are dark. It's because a lot of the time, if you're just kind of constricted in what you can see to the flashlight beam in front of you, that gets really old very fast. You notice in a lot of games when they're dark and you only have a flashlight on you, they tend to be very short sections because it ends up feeling very gimmicky very quickly. There's really not a lot you can do with it. I felt like in this map, I was just kind of waiting for my flashlight to recharge all the time before actually proceeding onwards. I think the map's just too dark for its own good. Actually ends up harming it more than it helps it. I did like this little secret here though, it's kind of cool. There's some warm lighting up here which kind of draws you up there. Have to work out how to create a little bridge to get up here. But yeah, this was a nice little kind of secret area. So yeah, because you have no real goal, you end up just kind of walking aimlessly around the map. I mean, I have no idea what I'm really trying to do. There's no kind of visual language set up in the map to kind of draw you around. It's just doors. You just go and explore them, really. Can't get through there yet. I mean, some of these areas have some nice puzzles in them. For instance, this room here is kind of cool. Reminds me a lot of the level in episode 2 where you're getting the car from the bridge and you've got the ammo crates suspended over a pit with barnacles above. I mean, there's obviously been some thought put into these side areas, but I think there's just too many of them, and the fact that there's no real main objective to keep the player focused, it just ends up, you end up just feeling completely helpless, like what am I doing in this map? I don't know. What's the goal? I don't know. It seems to me that the author had a lot of ideas and just kind of threw them all into the blender. For instance, there's a section near the end of the map where you fall down into an antlion burrow, which was really cool. It was nicely scripted, had a great kind of falling moment where the floor breaks under you and you fall down into an antlion pit. It was really nicely done. And then you kill maybe 3 antlions and then you're back out onto the street again. It just felt so underdeveloped. It could have been a really cool way kind of repurpose parts of the map, do a bit of backtracking with a new enemy type. You know, you could have had some really cool gameplay where you have to go back through the map and antlions are kind of digging up tunnels in the street and coming after you. you could have had parts of the map change because of that and open up new routes. Just feels like a bit of a wasted opportunity as it is at the moment. So there's a lot of back spawning as well, although I wouldn't really call it bad. It's actually kind of nice. So as you clear out parts of the map and go onwards, enemies keep on coming from those parts of the maps to come and kill you. I actually thought it was pretty cool. You can kind of close doors and things to stop them getting to you, which was nice as well. Actually had some gameplay in like closing off areas that you've been through to stop enemies coming back and getting you, which is kind of interesting. I don't think I've really seen that in a Half-Life map before. But again, it feels like another mechanic which really wasn't kind of highlighted, it's just kind of there in the map. I think there could have been a lot more kind of give and take with that, like purposefully closing off areas to stop enemies coming at you. And you know, if you didn't close off those areas, then you could possibly get overwhelmed. I think there's some interesting gameplay there, but it just wasn't explored. This area is another good example of an area that's just too dark, and all you can really see is what's in your flashlight beam. Actually had to increase the gamma and brightness adjust on the video output for you guys. You can actually barely see what's going on here. It's very, very dark in game. So I do kind of like they have to kind of find a way up onto the balcony here and not to the red light where the vent is. The red light is the kind of focal point in the room. It kind of gets your attention, and you really want to get up there to find out what it's about. We're getting up to the antlion part now. Again, I just think this could have been so much cooler if perhaps you'd fallen into an antlion burrow, angered all the antlions, and then the entire map kind of changes. And the antlion burrow itself is probably the most visually pleasing part of the map, actually. It was lit quite nicely. The displacements are really nice in it. But again, it just feels underdeveloped. And then you've got the ending of the map here, which is the most bitter letdown I think I've seen in a Half-Life map in a long time. So you emerge into this big open area of lots of zombies coming at you, and you think, right, it's going to be a big epic final combat for the map, this is going to be great, and then it just fades to black. Oh, I was so annoyed. Just a real shame, because there's no real payoff as well. You wander aimlessly around the map for 10-15 minutes, and then it fades to black just when you think it's starting to get going. It's it's a really serious pacing issue. As you can see here, all the zombies start coming at you, then it just fades out. It's a real shame. But the author obviously has some skill, just needs to think more about presentation of objectives in the map, i.e. giving the player a goal at the start, so that they're not just wandering aimlessly around your level. And obviously the pacing issues as well and the lighting. The thing about night maps is to not make them completely pitch black, especially in a Half-Life game where it's fairly fast-paced action. Take some finessing to actually make a level feel dark while still giving the player enough light to see what they're doing. Alright guys, I'll see you next time.